Yes, good evening, everybody. I see some faces I know and some faces I don't. So I want to welcome you to the information session on COSAMs or COSAMs, I guess, depending on how you want to pronounce that for our micro-credential program. We're going to start with a mindful check-in. You guys good with that? I know I need one. Okay. If you have a phone near you, can you just put it away face down? That way we can just be present together here. Make sure that it looks like, oh, make sure you're on mute. So I'm going to go in and mute some of you that aren't on mute. I'll be the only one not on mute so you can hear me. And just find a comfortable seat. So that could be laying down, it could be seated in a chair on the floor. And I want you to close your eyes and just notice your breath. That's it. Just simply coming to this moment and noticing your breath as you inhale and as you exhale. And just a couple more like that. Just bringing that awareness to our body and to our breath. With your eyes closed, you're going to take your hand and just spread your fingers. And a couple options as we do this take 5 mindful check-in is you can take your index finger on the opposite hand and just trace the outside of your fingers along with my guidance. Or you can just tap the top of each finger just gently. I'm going to trace my fingers. I like the sensation that creates. Eyes are closed. I'm going to take your opposite finger, and then you're going to inhale going up or just lightly touching the thumb, and then exhale going down or staying with that light touch. Inhale going up, exhale slowly going down, and just noticing the sensations you might feel as you touch each finger or trace the outside. Inhale going up, and then exhale slowly going down the finger. Inhale up, and then exhale slowly going down. Inhale up, and then exhale down. And just gently place that palm back onto your thigh or your belly if you prefer. And then we'll take the opposite hand, spreading your fingers. I want to be a little more intentional with our breath on this side, making sure that we're breathing long, slow, deep breaths on the inhale through our nose and long, slow, deep exhales out of our mouth. Starting with your index finger, opposite hand, spread your fingers, and then tracing up or just giving a light touch to the tip of the thumb. Inhale up, and then exhale down or stay with that light touch on the thumb. Inhale going up, the index finger, and exhale down. Inhale up, stay with that light touch as you exhale. Inhale going up, exhale down. Inhale going up, and then exhale down. Taking that palm back to your thigh or to your belly if you prefer. It's going to be really quiet for a few seconds as we go inward and just notice any sensations in our body, any emotion that might be rising to the surface. Without judgment, just bringing that attention and the awareness to our inner terrain. And in a few moments, I'm going to count down from 3, and I want you to slowly flutter your eyes open. in 3, 2, and 1. With your palms, I want you to place them on your belly if they're not there. We're just going to show a little shine to our mind. You can do this with your eyes open, gazing towards a focal point. Could be a key on your keyboard or a spot on the floor. Or you can do this with your eyes closed. And I'm just going to say this affirmation. You can say it silently to yourself, or you can say it out loud if you prefer. I am calm. I am peace. I am love. Taking the hands back to the thighs and slowly fluttering your eyes open if you close them, or bringing your gaze back towards the screen. All right. Wanted to do a little mindful check-in with Take 5. That's something you can use to begin, to transition, to end anything that you're doing, a class, an activity, transitioning from work to home, school, etc. Kids love it. I love it. The sensations feel really great. And of course, it's always awesome to show some shine to our mind. So if you want to just take a moment and maybe type one word that you feel from that practice, and if you don't have to type anything if you don't want, just if you want to share. And as you're doing that, I want to take that presence and awareness that we created right into our time together for our micro-credential information session. And I'm going to facilitate a conversation with Dina. Dina, just wave your hands. Yeah. Dina has participated. Have you completed it fully yet? Or yep, has fully completed our micro-credential program. And I, love what Tracy has created. So Tracy, thank you so much. This was such an amazing idea and project that now is in existence and is shedding its light in so many teachers' lives and classrooms. So Dina, I want to start off with, what is your biggest highlight of the program? If you could pick one thing, if you had 5 minutes and somebody said, what is this micro-credential program? Why does this matter? What's that one thing that you would tell them?
I think it was a flexible, informative, interesting, practical, knowledge-filled, incredible reflection experience. Honestly.
Knowledge, reflection.
Flexible.
Tell me more about the flexibility, because we are in an information overload world, notifications going off all the time. Our schedules are more packed than ever, even though it seems like we have the ability to have these more flexible things in our lives, schedules, because of technology. We can do Zoom meetings and we're in different states and different places. So tell me about the flexibility part.
So as a reading specialist, we have pockets of time, and I just felt like the program just helped me not feel stressed out, and I was able to take a lot of time with it because I could watch a video one time, I could read it another time when I was in a space that I didn't have a computer. Both gave me abilities to practice in spaces wherever I was. And I just love the fact that I could chip away at it when I had time. It wasn't like I was required to get all the videos done first and then have to read. But it was a nice mix and balance for me, because I can't be on the computer for long periods of time. So it was awesome. I also really appreciated the different presenters. So the flexibility of having different people present, not the same person every single time. Both in the videos.
Having that variety. When I was listening to you about chunking that time out, and me personally, I absolutely love that about the program, or anything where I can have access to a link and watch a video on my own time. I'm very much about being able to have as much control over my schedule as I can. There's a lot that we can't control within school and our classes, and there's certain schedules that just are what they are. So then those time frames in my calendar that I can control, I want to make sure like I can optimize my time with that information I know at this time in my life. And so it's a little bit harder. And thank you for showing up live. There definitely is an amazing energy in a live conversation, but also with asynchronous learning and having those videos on demand when you can, it's awesome. Yeah, I definitely love that flexibility as well. And just being able to access it, everybody, I think almost everybody has a phone these days, and being able to pull up, when you have 10 minutes and you're in a waiting room, or you are waiting for a meeting to start and you want to optimize your time in those ways, and you can bring that video up, or you need your own mindful moment and you need to remember, oh yes, that was very helpful. What about the kind of information? How is that helping you as an educator in the classroom? And let me just add this too. I just read something, an article, how Generation Xers, anywhere between you're having a teenager, right? Which was me. I know Tracy has a teenager. Someone, your teen just went to college too, and to age 25. And in this article, they surveyed these not Gen X but Gen Zers, and what they really want most out of their environment that they're working in is they want mental health support, which I thought was interesting. Like 50% of Gen Zers find that as a top priority, and it didn't really identify like what exactly that kind of support is like, but they want a culture within their work environment where this is a priority. So I want to put that in context, because when we think about mindfulness in schools and education, it definitely fits within the context of mental health support service. These are tools that can help us get all that chaotic stuff that's happening in our mind, hearts, and bodies, and help us be focused and experience joy through challenge. That being said, going back to you, Dina, what do you find in the content that you've connected to be most impactful in the work that you're doing in the classroom?
I really think the variety of presenters and their perspectives have opened up my whole world of mindfulness. I mean, between the authors doing like root groundwork with stuff and their experiences going into something that they created, along with, the connection that it was so fun to read, because there are like 6 authors in the book that I knew or I had connection to. So that was really, really powerful. And I was able to, not with the video part and the practices that were involved, I'm able to incorporate those into my own being and my own space with my students as a reading specialist, having small groups.
Let's pause, because you just said something that I really want to underscore, that you are taking these practices that you're learning in the Micro-Credential program and you are taking them into your own being. You're modeling that for your students. And I think that's super important. In a sense, and you didn't exactly say this, but when I heard you talk, this is what I'm hearing, is that you are walking through your own personal journey and your own personal self-discovery process. And because of that, you have this authenticity that you can connect to your students with. And I think as an educator, when we're anybody that's worked with students in the classroom, or colleagues or educators themselves and coach in any way, that we create the most impact when we have that authentic connection. And so I just wanted to pause there, because I thought that was so awesome that you shared how you were taking these practices, not as a, hey, I want to teach you this, which is really great. Like, I want to share this content and it's really great and it's going to help you, but wow, I'm also learning. I'm also on this journey. Let me share with you how I'm on this journey. And I think there's such magical learning that happens in that process.
And there's a great balance with that too in the program, in the micro-credential. There's things you can use in your classroom right away,
Mhm.
that you wouldn't necessarily need to fully, completely embrace all the time. But there's also practices that are great for you,
Yeah.
that then you'll probably want to share. I also do district mindfulness for our district. So I work with adults, and it has been hugely um, helpful in that realm. Um, Let me try this practice for myself before I try it on them. And I'm like, oh God, I really love this. The other piece that I loved about the variety of people is that I like we're in this teaching mode and all this, but there's a huge, bigger world out there doing this incredible work. And it just inspires and motivated me even more,
Mhm.
to like delve into it more and reflect more and really take the time with the micro credential to look at myself in
Mhm.
reflection to my teaching too.
Oh, yes, absolutely.
And
How it can impact it just probably, I imagine, just even from my own experience and thinking about what you were just saying is reflecting every day, right? Like with the tools that I have, oh wow, what worked and what didn't? Where was I present? Where was I not? And noticing the differences in how practicing even just a take five or not can make a difference in your day and the classroom and the energy and the connection of the content that you're teaching beyond, if you're just teaching mindfulness content, but science, math, ELA, etc.
I kind of felt like it was time for me. Like I was like
Yeah.
gifting myself with this fantastic opportunity, but also gave me some leverage having this credential to go and be more of a leader and say, listen, I'm doing this to my district, which I keep pushing myself kind of on them to increase my engagement with the mental health of our staff and my colleagues throughout our
We're on
district.
the same like wavelength, Dina, because one of the things I was thinking about like literally right before you said that in my mind, I made this mental note. Don't forget to ask. And the phrase that I'm using is like strategic positioning. We don't often, and I want like you to own that, right? Like anybody that takes and goes above and beyond and gets a certification or a credential in some area, that you are strategically positioning yourself to rise and to grow however you want to grow within your school, your district, your home, your community. These are practices that are amazing in the classroom that will have a positive impact for your students and for educators and the leaders on campus, but also for you personally, like your growth as in any of the relationships that you have at home with your students and beyond. And I love that you said how going through the program gave you that confidence and the what's the other word I'm looking for? Just the backing, maybe the backing because of the experience that you went through to say, hey, I can do this. And now you're leading this in your district. And you're an expert in your area, and who knows what will come of that kind of engagement. And as I think about that article that I mentioned, and the more that we're teaching our kids about emotional intelligence, and there's another one too, two of the top, so there are like these 10 skills that employers look to when they're hiring. And there are many of them, 10 we'll just call them 10 skills, but two of the 10 skills that were listed were emotional intelligence and cognitive flexibility. And so as we're thinking about mindfulness practices, and we often think, oh, that's great, calm and relaxation and decreasing stress. And yes, but we're also looking at emotional intelligence because we're becoming more aware of our inner world and how we're relating that, like the practice of mindfulness in action in our relationships, and how we advocate for ourselves, and that cognitive flexibility, right? Like that's the practice of mindfulness, right? it brings up this resistance. We have this like inner battle. We bring that awareness and we say, you know what? I can adapt to this situation. I can get through this challenge. So 2 of the top skills out of the 10 that employers are looking for are those 2. That is within the program that Coalition of Schools Educating Mindfully has wrapped up in this beautiful micro-credential for all of us to learn and share with our students. So definitely strategically positioning in more ways than one. You know, we often think about not just like you were just saying, like leading in at your campus, but we're preparing our students to be successful in the world. Content is important and we want them to have that knowledge, but how are they going to use it? And this is like the foundational piece that's going to help them use that. So yeah, thank you. I had to share that other article too, because I just made that connection as well.
I love it.
Well, I wanted to pause for just a moment. Thank you, Dina. Those that are on, I haven't had a chance to read the comments, but this is going to give me a chance too, as we open up the floor for questions about the micro-credential program and why that may be beneficial to you and your journey personally and professionally. So
Can I,
I'm gonna open the
Anthea,
floor.
can
Yeah.
I add one thing? So the other cool piece is once I registered, I
Mhm.
felt supported. I got a couple check-ins, like I knew Tracy, and yes, I kind of hopped into COSM, both feet, right in, but I felt like anything that I needed was given.
Yeah.
You know, if I needed space, I got space. If I needed like help, I got help.
Mhm.
I wasn't pressured for anything. I was just, you know, listen, I'm here. If you need me, have any questions, let me know, you know, but it was not like, are you done yet? You know, none of that. So it was just a very relaxed and enjoyable experience overall. I would highly recommend it.
Yeah, thank you for that. And just to quickly underscore too, in terms of the support, it's like a one-stop shop. Any resource you ever want is available in the program. And any educator knows, like, you don't want to be going like here, there, and everywhere. And it's nice to have all of it in one place and to connect to other educators that are doing this work and get that support so you don't feel isolated and alone in the journeys that you're on. So thank you for that, Dina. I'm just looking at this as you guys are thinking about questions. You can give me a hand raise by doing the emoji or just physically showing me that hand, and you can come off mute and ask your question. I saw that somebody said, would love if I shared the article that I mentioned about the Gen Z. And yes, Tracy, I will share that on the member site. So
awesome. Thank you, Dina and Athea. And I just want to share that Athea is one of the 6 presenters for it. And so is Lindsay Frank, our COSM president here. And the 4 of us, Lindsay, Athea, Dina, and I we're all board members for COSM, and we've stepped forward to help this year for the operational team for COSM. So the 4 of us will be, when we say, oh, we'll be there for support, it's the 4 of us. And Dina will be doing a lot of the legwork, and you know, the email, the person you'll be emailing back and forth with for it with any questions.
yeah. Any wonderings, any comments, anything anybody want to share in our last few minutes together?
And I will stay on. I know we wanted to stick to 30 minutes and have Athea and Dina can pop off, but I'm willing to stay on. I can walk through the submittal requirements with anybody, the assessment rubrics, if you have questions about how the payments work, or if you can do a PO with your school, all those details, I'll stay on here tonight and help with as well.
Let me just reiterate, when we did the mindful check-in, that is that is a little mini lesson that you can do with your students before you start your main lesson. So when you have your, however you start your lesson and however you start your class, before you do that, you would instead start with a mindful check-in, just to bring the energy into that sort of that one breath, one class, one space, to get grounded and to get present. You can start it in your homeroom. You can do it AM homeroom, PM homeroom, during transition time. So the great thing about a lot of these tools is the flexibility within how you can integrate them into any content that you're teaching. So this is workable for any content area. It does not take a lot of time to do that. We spent a few minutes at the beginning of this informational session, and we took that mindful moment and did that mindful check-in. And so those are two tools that you can take with you. The Take 5, where you trace the fingers or just lightly touch the finger. And then we did the affirmation, showing that shine to our mind. And that's super important for our students to learn how they can, one, just connect to their inner self, to regulate their inner system. And anybody willing to be 100% honest knows that that voice inside is a little monster sometimes, and especially with our students that are growing up in the world today. So it's always important to show that shine to our mind. And I always say, if you don't believe me, that's okay. I want you to breathe and try it, and you're going to notice a difference for yourself. You're going to discover that for yourself. So I just want to underscore that mindful check-in is that little mini lesson that you can incorporate anytime into what you're doing. So yeah, thank you.
Thanks, Cynthia. Thanks again, Dina. And what I've done just here right at the end, I've put a link in the chat with it pretty much has everything you'll need to go. It walks you through the whole process. And then you can email us. The email's within the link also if you have any questions.
And then I'll share that article on the member site. And then I'm going all the way up because I didn't get a chance to read the words. So I want to read them really quick. Thank you all for sharing those. Thank you. Thank you, Jessica. Yeah, if there's no questions, I would say make sure you copy those links. If you think of questions later, maybe let's give a contact so you guys can reach out.
Yeah, it's within the link, and everything's also
okay.
It's also on our website on the membership page. There's
awesome.
Everything.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I hope you guys have an amazing rest of your evening. Take that Take 5 tool, use it, say the affirmation, use it, share it with your students, share it with your family. I am voting everyone's victory, and I would love to see some more of these faces in our Micro-Credential program. It will be not only, again, beneficial for you personally, but everybody in your life, and definitely giving you that advantage to grow and move forward in the ways that you want to and can design in your own way. So, bye, everybody.
Bye.
Thank you, everybody.